Chaos. Before his involvement with the organization known as Amnesia, he was someone that actually didn't believe the existence of the Hollow Knight and the things that followed it. He believed that it was all just foolish rumor talk, even going by his original name at the time as K-Osama. But one conversation changed all that. During a trip to the library, he overheard some people talking about the Hollow Knight firsthand. With this, he developed curiosity of the knight and started to research it in his own way. He goes to the library again to see if there was at least some minor information regarding it. But to his displeasure, he couldn't find anything. Thanks to the rumors though, he at least has some kind of ground to learn about it. The biggest one being that when bitten by a void, you gain some supernatural abilities. Once he leaves the library that night though, he gets to see what the night was firsthand, as it enveloped his entire surrounding. Even though this gave him some chills, he decided to take this opportunity to look around a bit. But that would come to an end when he came across a group of voids. At first, he tried to run away, but he literally stopped himself from doing so. To him, this was the only way out of the night, and he didn't know when he'll get this opportunity again. So that was then he decided to voluntarily get bit by the void at hand. He collapses from the pain, but when he wakes up, his will to investigate the night grew even stronger. His ability? The EX of Illusion, known as Umbral. What this ability allows him to do is to manifest and project certain objects, particularly books. Weeks have passed, and Chaos started to gain more experience with minor knights that came. In his words, his ability at that time was rather weak, but enough to get past. Suddenly, during a night, he actually comes across two individuals by the name of Hilda and Gordeau. Chaos decides to eavesdrop on their conversation, but he wasn't as sneaky as he thought. Gordeau easily sensed his presence and even looks at him, believes him alone, saving him the wrath of Hilda. They continued to talk, even saying how they were planning to do a direct attack on Lee Christ. Hearing this, Chaos decided to use this attack as a diversion for himself to sneak into Lee Christ to see what they had regarding the knight. The attack came, and Hilda was more than enough to handle everyone at Lee Christ at that time. But the two split. One side had to deal with Hilda, and the other side had to deal with Gordeau. Chaos, seeing the attack firsthand, finally sneaks into one of Lee Christ's abandoned libraries and comes across a book. At first, he couldn't understand the language that was presented with the book, but when grazing his fingers across it, he felt a shock that came from the book. With that, the book started to flood his head with the information of itself, and the language that was in front of him started to make more sense than usual. A book known as the Chaos Code was revealed to be the name, and it seemed like it even had some kind of conscience of its own. As said by Chaos, the consciousness that's talking to him is from the power of the EX just by gazing at the book. And with this, he finally found what he was looking for, a source of knowledge regarding the Knight and EX. But something about the book was clearly greater than just that. After obtaining this book, he decides to leave with no second thought, but only to be caught by an executor of Lee Christ, demanding to give the book back. Chaos said he can't leave without this book. As he kept her distracted with small talk, he started to concentrate his EX into the book to break the seal and release the shadow beast within. The beast of chaos itself. An enormous black shadow begins to show itself, and fearing this, Aurier immediately charged at Chaos to stop the release of the creature. Aji Dahaka. Hearing the call of Chaos, it appeared and attacked Aurier by surprise, launching her body across the room and hitting the wall. A massive void-like creature that had swift movements was held within the book. His final words to Aurier after that confrontation was to tell Aldehyde herself this. In exchange for the book he stole, he let her live, and walked out with no scratches. He's even said that Aji can even adjust his own size, explaining how he got out of the room he was summoned in to begin with. Relieved after facing an executor of Lee Christ and coming out victorious, he is then confronted by Gordeau. They exchange minor details and cut to the point. Gordeau basically asked him if he would like to join Amnesia. Confused at one point, he even asked Gordeau if he was the one that thought of this strategy of splitting up into two and fighting Lee Christ with him and Hilda. His response to that was that there was no plan to begin with, admitting that they just go by dumb luck. And especially given how powerful Hilda is, they really didn't need a plan. But he even admits that Amnesia is quite dysfunctional. Chaos responds saying that he's not even powerful enough to be part of Amnesia. But Gordeau didn't want him to fight in the front lines. All Gordeau wanted from Chaos was him to be the tactician of the group so that Amnesia is even more effective. Hearing this though, he questioned what would actually be in it for him if he accepts this offer. What Gordeau offered to him was that he can be above all the inverts with the knowledge and intelligence he could obtain throughout the process. That alone was enough to grasp his attention of joining. Gordeau goes even further than that and reads Chaos, saying he has something else planned at the end of it all, and offers that he'll need some help regarding his true intentions anyway. Chaos at that point laughs. To rule the pawns and obtain his objective at the same time, he says it couldn't be that bad. So, he agrees to join, as a key member of Amnesia, alongside with Hilda the Paradox, Roger the Survivor, and Gordeau the Harvester.